Okay. Good morning, Stephen. Thanks for joining me today.
Morning, David.
Um, how
Pleasure.
are
My
you?
pleasure.
All good? The purpose of our conversation today is we're running a conference in November around business integrated governance, and a key aspect of that is portfolio management. So we asked, and you've kindly agreed to present and drive conversation around the portfolio management leg of that conference. And to me, you're the perfect person to do this. My first introduction to portfolio management was because of you. So, Stephen, please introduce yourself to our little audience.
Hopefully a large audience, David. Aim for the stars. Yeah, I'm Steve Jenner, or Stephen Jenner, ex civil servant. Worked in government. I was an accountant by training. Ended up as a chief accountant. Well, didn't end up. I was at one point a chief accountant of the prison service. We employed more accountants than any other government department, apart from Ministry of Defence, due to the vagaries of our accounting system. And then ended up working on some large projects and programs and a portfolio. And that brought me into portfolio management and benefits management. So that's what I've been working in for the last 20 odd years, treating projects and programs as investments. And if they're investments, we should know what return we're going to get. And if we know what return is, then we should know what the benefits are. So that's the kind of area I operate in. I've written several books: managing benefits, managing portfolios, more recently management of portfolios over 10 years ago with Craig Kilford. So yeah, that's me essentially.
And we've got a conference that talks about why we'd need business integrated governance. It talks about the life cycle for it, but delving into the detail, one of the what you very kindly agreed to present for us is to talk about the strategy execution gap. And this is
Yeah.
something we talk about a lot in Big, and clearly managing portfolio management is aimed squarely at dealing with failures in strategy implementation. So tell us a little bit more about what you'd like to say, and what's the passion behind wanting to say that.
Okay, well, I think we have, in essence, two main, there's three issues or three challenges. One is, yes, most of the research shows that organizations struggle to deliver on their strategies. Some interesting research from the PMI, Boston Consulting Group, in that, or sorry, the Economist Intelligence Unit, about the success rate is disappointing, I think is the adjective they use. I'm reminded, I think it was Hazlitt who said, man is the only animal that laughs and cries because he's the only animal that knows the difference between what is and what could have been.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of opportunity cost of failure. So yeah, we have this issue about organizations struggle to deliver on their strategy. At the same time, they struggle to deliver their projects and programs successfully. And again, the research is overwhelming, and people was often sometimes will challenge it, but it's consistent. And the PMI seem to be the optimists in the field, but they say 50% of projects and programs fail. Now, can you imagine if 50%, if the British Medical Association said 50% of operations fail,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
teachers said we fail 50% of our children, you'd say, what's wrong with you people? Go and get some training, for Christ's sake. But no, we kind of carry on doing it again. And so strategy failures, project and program failures, or not as successful as they should have been, that opportunity cost. But thirdly, the fact that the world is increasingly being projectized. The scale of productivity is growing. When it was, Lion's Made or something, this huge factory making ice cream and a couple of projects in the corner, not so important. Now, when I think the stats I saw was something 45% of world GDP is now being delivered by projects and programs. Forgive me if I get the stat slightly wrong, but I think that was the number quoted. So it matters. So I think that there is therefore that challenge, and I think the answer actually clearly one of the answers is portfolio management. We start with strategy. Strategies has to be the kind of guiding light, and yet too often we have poor strategy. But portfolio is part of the solution because it's part of trying to close that the gap between strategy and execution. But interestingly, what's the number one driver of project and program success? Well, let's look at Peter Wheel at MIT. When they were looking at IT, said the number one determinant of whether you get value for money from your investment in IT, so that's projects and the legacy, is governance.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's the number one descriptor of or predictor of good or effective governance? He said it's the ability of people, senior managers, to describe the governance process. So everyone, we should know there needs to be a governance process, and people need to know what the governance process is. So what you're talking about at the conference, I think, David, is about bringing in these three areas that are really of interest to me together and trying to integrate them and see how we can promote all three. What's the overlap between strategy, portfolio, and governance?
Exactly that. And I think at the conference we're very, very lucky to have people that can speak in detail about the portfolio component, the strategy component from the ISP, and the governance bit too. But yeah, so it's great to explore this particular area.